like that?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
It's it's like an open expanse of land, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a river and these beautiful trees.
Mm-hmm.
They're very old and they
Where?
have a lot of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. What kind of tree? How do they look like?
Um, Maybe they're oak trees. I don't know what kind of trees, but they have their um, branches are just kind of snaking around.
Mm-hmm.
They have the most beautiful branches.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the branches have a mind of their own.
Mm-hmm. And how tall are they?
Um, um, Not that tall.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 feet.
Mm-hmm. And when can you approach and touch the bark?
Yeah.
How does it feel to touch the bark?
It's smooth. It's almost like the years, the weather has worn off the
Mm-hmm.
outer bark, almost like it's been sanded down by the wind.
Yeah. And what color are the leaves?
The leaves are a mixture of green and orange and
Mm-hmm.
yellow.
Mm-hmm. What else do you notice in this landscape?
The trees are kind of, these trees that I'm talking about are lining a path. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a dirt road,
Mm-hmm.
and they're on both sides of the road. And it's like they form, with the branches are snaking around, but they form like an archway.
Mm-hmm. And could you hear any sounds around?
Just the wind, and I
Mm.
can hear the stream.
Mm-hmm. Can you smell anything around?
It smells like it smells kind of like when the leaves have fallen and are wet and they start to decompose, like that smell of,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a very earthy smell.
Mm-hmm. The smell of the fall,
Yeah,
like autumn. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And so you're on the path.
Mm-hmm.
No worries in a place like that. It's peaceful, where there are no worries and no problems. Just peace and quiet. Can you see the sky from where you are?
Just little pieces of it through the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Stones,
Stones. What kind of stones?
like a mixture of pebbles and um, larger stones, like the size of my fist.
Mm-hmm. And are they smooth or sharp?
Mm, they're like, no, they're not sharp. They're not smooth either.
Mm-hmm.
They're somewhere in the middle.
And what do you see around there as you walk on these
It's
pebbles?
like this. It's it's some type of pathway
Mm-hmm.
or driveway. I feel like there's a cottage
Mm-hmm.
in the forest somewhere.
So do you see a forest in the background?
Yeah, it's like the pathway is leading to forest.
Mm-hmm. And as you move in that pathway, what else do you notice?
Cottage.
Mm-hmm. Would you describe that cottage?
It's a wooden cottage. The panels on the outside are like a dark wood.
Mm-hmm.
The trim around the windows is white.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of trees around.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And is there any fire smoke coming out of the cottage?
No,
Mm-hmm. Is there any light visible from the window?
no.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at yourself, when you look at your feet, what do you see?
My feet are bare.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel your body female or male?
Male.
Young or old?
Relatively young.
Mm-hmm. Does the body feel healthy?
Yes.
And what are you wearing? Can you describe what you're wearing?
Trousers.
Mm-hmm.
Long, long trousers. They're like a dark green.
Mm-hmm. And
A
what?
long shirt. Like
Mm-hmm.
long sleeve shirt.
Mm-hmm. And as you're walking on the rocks, are you used to walk barefoot on the rocks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is the weather outside?
It's like it's dusk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not dark yet, but it's getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's warm, but there's a slight chill in the air.
Mm-hmm. So, where are you going right now?
I don't know.
Are you carrying anything with you?
No.
No. So, what about that cottage at the end of the path? Does it look familiar?
I feel like it's mine. I feel like I live there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I haven't been there for a while. Like I've just come back from some type of journey.
Mm-hmm. So you're just coming back from a trip?
So,
Mm-hmm. And you're not carrying anything with you?
no,
Do you have any tools with you? Any weapons?
no.
Mm-hmm. And as you're approaching the house, can you see a little bit more of what's around you?
I feel like there are other houses nearby, but I can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this house in the forest.
Yes. And as you approach the house, are you about to enter the house?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you need a key to enter the house?
No.
Mm-hmm. Now you're entering the house. What do you see inside?
There's a small kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
fireplace.
Mm-hmm. Is the fireplace on?
No.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody
I know
else in
why.
this house?
No, this is my house. I haven't been here for a while.
So there's not nobody else living in this house.
No.
Mm-hmm. What else do you see inside the house?
There was at some time. There was a child here before and a
Mm,
wife,
mm-hmm.
but not anymore.
Where are they?
Feels like they've left.
Mm-hmm. And do you what kind of furniture do you have in the house?
It's wooden furniture, but there are cushions to cover the base.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What else?
There's a rug.
Mm-hmm. So now that it's getting into nighttime, what are you gonna do?
And I came and I lit a candle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Get some firewood.
yeah. And then next.
You take a shower. Well,
Mm,
I don't know if it's a shower, but get clean.
mm-hmm.
Feel,
Feel dirty from the road?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my clothes are dirty.
Yes. Do you have a change of clothes in the cabin, in the cottage?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So once you wash yourself and you change your clothes, do you have, can you describe the way you look? Do you have facial hair?
Yes. I have
Mm-hmm.
long hair. It's like dirty blonde.
Mm-hmm.
I have a beard.
Yes.
It's not quite to my neck, but it's relatively long.
Mm-hmm. And do you carry the beard all the time, or it's just because of the trip?
I carry it all the time.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do next usually?
Even though I feel like this is my first time back here alone.
This is the first time back here alone. So, do you remember where you're coming from? What happened before?
I feel like I came off a ship.
You came off a ship. Mm-hmm. And let's move back in time to the time where you were not living alone in that cottage. With leaving that scene and move backward to a time when you were not alone in that cottage. We have moved backward to a time when you were living not alone in that cottage. What's happening? What do you see?
You see my wife sitting in front of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
She's breastfeeding our baby.
Mm-hmm. What is her name?
Emily is the first thing that comes to mind.
Uh-huh. And when she calls your name, how does she call you?
James.
James. So James, what do you do for a living?
Something with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Some manual labor.
Yes. And is your wife breastfeeding your first baby?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been with your wife?
2 years, maybe two.
Yeah. How did you meet?
We met at a dance in the village,
Mm-hmm.
or some type of festival
Mm-hmm.
where
What
they were
is?
dancing.
Uh-huh. Do you know the name of the village?
Something Dale.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Is that is it a village by in the country by where is it located in a what kind of geography is around the village? How does it look like around the village?
It's mostly forest. It's surrounded by forest.
Mm-hmm. Is that a big village or is that a small village?
It's a small village.
Uh-huh.
I
And
can't get any clear image of the village.
yes. So you're with your wife and your baby, and now I'm going to ask you to leave that scene and move on to the next important day, an important day, a day that you consider to be important when something is happening in this life. We have moved now forward to an important day. What is happening? What do you see?
There's a fire in the village.
Yes. What caused the fire?
A candle.
A
Candle was
candles.
candle was turned over, fell over.
Mm-hmm. Where did the fire start?
in somebody's home.
Uh-huh. And so that person's home got on fire, and so
Yes, and
and what? And
they've called for assistance.
mm-hmm.
So all the men have come out to help.
Yes. And what happens?
See us trying to fetch water from the well.
Mm-hmm. And how does it unfold now?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. And how is it an important time for you at this moment? I- Do you know the people whose house is on fire?
No, no, I don't know. Not personally.
Mm-hmm. But it's a significant event.
It's significant for the village.
It's significant for the village. Of course it is. And so what happens next?
There's not enough water to put out the fire.
Mm-hmm.
It spreads.
It spreads to other homes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Does it affect
Yes.
your home?
No, my home is, this is in the center of the village. My
Mm-hmm.
home is out in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the homes are destroyed.
Yes. And what happened to the villagers?
I don't think anyone was injured, but they all had to leave.
Mm-hmm. How far did they go?
Many of them left the village altogether
Mm-hmm.
to where they had other family members.
Mm-hmm. And what did you decide to do with your family?
My family stayed. My wife
Mm-hmm.
and I stayed.
So
But there was no longer any source of employment.
yes. What about your wife's family?
My wife's family doesn't live in this village.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what do you decide to do when there is no more employment in the village and the village is is sort of deserted?
There's an opportunity to go on a ship.
Uh-huh. So
So
you,
I decide to go, but I
yeah.
have to leave my wife.
So what happens to your wife and son? Where do they stay when you're gone on the ship?
They go to her family.
They go to her family. So she goes with a child, your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So your wife and daughter go to her family. Uh-huh. And you go on a ship. What kind of ship is that?
It's a large sailboat
Mm-hmm.
with big masts and sails.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commercial ship.
How
It's
many?
a for transport.
Yeah. And how many masts does it have?
Three,
Three. So it's a
three
big,
large ones.
it's a big, big, large ship.
It's a very big ship.
Uh-huh. Does it have a name?
I can't think of it.
Uh-huh. So you get on the ship, and where do you sail? From where do you leave from? Where are you going? What?
The Americas.
You're going to the Americas?
I'm in the Americas. This is going to the southern parts of the Americas.
Oh, so you're leaving the northern part of the Americas to go to the southern part of the Americas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, and what type of cargo do you have?
It feels like it's rum.
Mm-hmm. So, do you know which port you're leaving from?
I, some Massachusetts comes
Mm,
up.
yes. So you're sailing down the east coast of the Americas, right?
Mm,
And where you guys are going? How far are you going?
to the Caribbean.
You're going to the Caribbean? Mm-hmm. That's quite a journey, isn't it?
It takes weeks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe maybe longer.
Yeah. And now you've arrived in the Caribbean. How does it look like?
Mm, it's hot.
Mm-hmm. Very different from the Northeast, right?
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
it's, the people have a different way.
Yeah. Like what?
Free. It's very free.
It's very
Uninhibited.
free and uninhibited.
Uninhibited.
Uninhibited. Mm-hmm. It's very different from what you used to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What else do you notice in the Caribbean that that is sort of different?
Mm. Yeah, the way of the people.
Uh-huh.
The vegetation.
Yes. What do you mean by that?
It's just it's just not the same as I'm used to. Like
Mm,
the forest I know.
Mm-hmm.
It feels more like jungle than forest.
Yes. And how long do you stay in the Caribbean?
You don't stay long, a few days.
A few days. And so then you take your cargo back. Do you know which island you visited?
This feels like Jamaica.
Uh-huh. So you filled up the cargo with rum?
Mm.
Uh-huh. And then you're sailing back? Are you sailing
We
back?
have brought some things too. We have brought cargo. What is
Uh-huh.
it? It feels like some type of timber.
Okay. So you're carrying things from north to south, and then you're bringing back something from south to north.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how is the trip back?
It's rough. I'm not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to life on the sea.
Yes.
It's manual labor, but it's different. Oh, I know. I what I did before was I was a lumberjack. This is why I've been chosen, or this opportunity came with the timber.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I'm familiar with timber,
Mm-hmm.
but this journey requires you to be a deckhand. So you
Clean up the
clean the
deck.
deck, clean the
Uh-huh.
deck. Yeah,
Do you help with sailing as well?
not really. I don't know much about sailing.
Uh-huh. So you're not in charge of dealing anything with the sails?
No, I'm not. I don't have those skill sets.
Uh-huh. So
They
you
put me two things inside the cabin and on the deck to clean because
mm-hmm.
that's what I know. There are men who are familiar with the sails, who have been
Uh-huh.
working on the ship for many years. They
Yes.
deal with the sails.
So is that a big crew on the
Yes,
yeah,
maybe
how big is
30
the
or
crew?
40.
30 or 40 men in that boat?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's there's a woman or
There
two in the kitchen.
oh,
These older women.
another woman in the kitchen.
Yeah,
How is the food on the boat?
it's not good.
It's not good. What do they serve?
Slop. No, it tastes like slop. It feels like slop. Potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
some type of meat
Mm-hmm.
concoction. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So
Soup.
it's not the kind of diet you kind of food you used to.
No.
Uh-huh. So do you make it back to Massachusetts?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what happens next when you're back?
This is when I came back.
That was the one trip, okay?
This is where I started when I came to the
Uh-huh.
house
Yeah.
and it was empty.
And so what did you get any news from your wife and your daughter?
No, I would have to go to her village.
Uh-huh. So you first came back from the trip directly to the cottage. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So now you are going to take some rest, I guess.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And now we leave that scene and let's move forward to an important day, a day that you consider to be important when something is happening in this life.
Okay, I need to use the bathroom.
Okay, so you're going to just go and use the bathroom, opening your eyes. And now After the night has passed, you wake up the next day after you came back and rested. And what are your plans for the day?
I feel like I should go and see my wife, but I don't want to.
You don't want to?
No,
What holds you back?
I don't know. Something about the obligation,
Hmm.
the responsibility. I don't want it.
You don't want anymore to be responsible for a wife and a child?
No.
Hmm. What has changed your mind about that?
Being on the sea,
Hmm.
seeing how other people live so free.
Yes. So now that you're alone in the cottage and you have time to think about your plans, what comes to mind?
I can go back on the ship. The
Hmm.
ship leaves. The ship leaves in a few days again.
Hmm. So you could take that as a job, as a permanent job.
I already have.
Oh, they already secured your place. Hmm.
Yeah, they told me to come back in a few days.
Okay,
And we
so
do it again.
and you'll do it again. So now, how do you, was it a plan initially with your wife that you would be becoming having a permanent job on a boat?
No,
No. So how do you feel about what the next step is with your family?
I just feel like I'm gonna go. I don't feel any type of way. I don't. My instinct is to just go.
Mm-hmm.
Just go on the ship.
Yes. Are you gonna tell your wife about it?
No, she knew I was going on the ship. She didn't know for how long. She didn't know where. I just will allow her to continue to assume that I've always been on the ship.
Mm-hmm. So she would not know you went back home. Mm-hmm.
No,
So, so you decide to go back on the ship without seeing your wife and your child. So now we can leave that scene and let's move forward to another important day in this lifetime. A day that you consider to be important when something is significant is happening. We have moved now forward to an important day. What is happening? What do you see?
I see me sitting on my porch,
Mm-hmm.
significantly older,
Yes.
alone.
Yes. What has happened in between?
Nothing much. I just got to a point where I couldn't be on the ship anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my age, I wasn't as capable.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever contacted your wife ever since?
No,
No. You never went back?
no, I think I made some inquiries about how she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
She remarried,
Yes.
and I was okay with it.
Mm-hmm. So now you're back to the cottage. or back somewhere else?
No, at the cottage.
Mm-hmm. And what happens now?
I'm just sitting on the porch,
Mm-hmm.
taking in the forest around me.
Mm-hmm. And
I
how?
don't really have any emotion about it. I
Yeah.
don't feel sad. I feel content.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel regret. I
Yes.
don't.
When you work your whole life on the boat, were you always having the same destination?
No,
No.
no, we would have, there were different destinations in the Caribbean, different destinations in South America.
Mm-hmm. So you've seen the world a little
Different,
bit more?
yes,
Mm-hmm. And can you now you must have a lot of memories of your sailings.
yes.
Mm-hmm. What do you remember as a significant moment in in this life of sailing?
The freedom, the
Mm,
adventure,
mm-hmm.
the exploration.
Mm-hmm.
There's no expectations of anything.
Yeah.
You, you just, the only expectations are that you pull your weight on the ship. And other than that, there are no expectations
Mm-hmm.
about who you should be, about what you should do. The
Yeah.
only thing that's expected of you, the only thing, is
Mm-hmm.
that you do your duties.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do with your time afterwards, as long as it doesn't bring any of your crew members to harm, it's your
Yeah.
business. Nobody cares.
Uh-huh.
It's there's freedom.
As have your duties evolved through the years?
No, not really. Same. Sometimes I began to learn about the sales, but I never tended to the sales.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're asked to do some other task here and there. If something happens, if water comes in that maybe is not in your standard duty, or
So do you know how
just an
to do
emergency.
carpentry?
No,
No. So you don't
I
know.
know how to cut wood and timber, but not how to.
Okay. So somebody
No,
else would have to do the repairs. You would just cut the wood.
no. I mean, if there were repairs on the ship and they needed my assistance, I could help.
Mm-hmm.
If there was something that broke, for example, if there was water that came on board and you had to take the water out, or a pipe broke and
Mm-hmm.
somewhere you help to fix it. But for the most part, my duties were the same, remained the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Timber, cleaning, maintenance.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And of all the countries you've seen, which one was your preferred destination?
Guyana comes to mind.
Guyana?
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Did you have friends over there?
I feel like there was a woman.
Mm-hmm. But again, with no commitment?
No.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
she was very free.
she was very free. Did you have a child together?
No.
No. So now that you retired from sailing, are you going to sustain yourself?
I have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I had uh, the on the ship. You earn a wage, but you have nothing to spend it on.
Mm, I see.
Maybe at a port you spend some money, but for the most part, your expenses are taken care of on the ship.
Uh-huh.
And there's no real need to spend money, so I've saved it. And I have enough money to last me.
And in those days, how would you secure your money when you would be traveling? Where would you put it?
I would hide it.
Uh-huh.
My wages would be given to me when I finish the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it to the cottage. I
Mm-hmm.
find a place in the cottage where I hide it.
Yeah. But you left the cottage and occupied for many months at a time. So you had to have a very secure place because anybody could come in.
Yes, it was in one of the floor ports.
Mm. And you never had any problem with your money, right?
No, the village was mostly abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And even before it was abandoned, it was a very safe place.
Yeah. So did you grow anything? Do you grow anything from the ground
No.
for food? No? You just buy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how far are you from the village, the closest village to buy stuff?
Maybe a mile, 2 miles.
Oh, so it's not
Not
too
far.
far. It's not far. So let's move now. Let's leave that scene and let's move forward to the last day in the life we are looking at. You can watch it as an observer if you want to. We have gone forward to the last day of your life in this lifetime. We are watching. What is happening? What do you see?
I'm in bed. I see the roof, the ceiling.
Mhm. What what is going on?
I'm just old, tired.
Hmm.
I'm not ill,
Yes.
but I know that it's my time to go.
Yes. How old do you think you are, James?
80s.
Hmm. So how is your day unfolding? You're sitting in bed and then?
I just don't feel like I have enough energy to get out.
Hmm. And and as the day unfolds, can you tell me what's happening?
I just close my eyes,
Hmm.
just allow myself to drift as if
Yeah.
I was going to sleep.
Yes. And now that you close your eyes, can you see your body?
Yes,
Hmm. What's happening to your body now?
it's just lying there, peaceful.
Hmm. Is there anybody that's coming or knows about you?
No,
Uh-huh. Is your body gonna stay alone like that for a long time?
yes,
Hmm. And what do you decide to do now that whatever happened has already happened? Are you gonna stay around or?
no,
So now you are on the other side of it. From that position, you can look back at the entire life and see it from a different perspective. Every life has a lesson and a purpose. As you look at the life, What did you learn from it?
I learned that I had the power to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I could have chosen to, as wonderful as my wife was, I could have chosen to stay in a relationship and a life that felt like obligation,
Yes.
or I could choose to be free. And I chose to be free.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think was the purpose of that lifetime?
The purpose of that lifetime was to recognize that you can be free and you can choose to live the life that you want and still
Mm-hmm.
be content, even though some may not have liked the decision that I made.
Mm-hmm.
But I know my wife and my child were taken care of, they were
Yes.
safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And my wife remarried and she was happy.
Yes. And is there any connection as spirits with your wife?
No,
No. It was just per
no real connection,
no real.
no
Mm-hmm.
deep connection.
Uh-huh. So now we can move away from that life, leaving the person there, James, to continue on his own path. We can move either forward or backward to find another appropriate time and place that has information that you need. You are now at another time and place. What do you see? What is happening?
I'm sitting on a bench
Mm-hmm.
mm, in a garden that's also surrounded by forest.
Yes.
It feels like it's high in altitude, maybe on a mountain.
Mm-hmm. What kind of mountains?
It's not a,
There is
not
snow.
no, no, it's green, it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very high mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like maybe it's like a tall hill.
A tall hill.
Can't see, but I know shortly in front of me there's an edge that goes down into a river.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the name of the area?
No,
No. And do you know what what period of the year you're in? Is it
it
warm?
feels like this place is. It's warm, but it feels like this place is in another dimension.
It's in another dimension. What do you notice to put it in another dimension?
It feels timeless.
Yes. So a hill.
It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's connected to time, and it doesn't feel like it's connected to geography, even though
Mm-hmm.
visually I can in, see that it's a mountain and a forest, but I can't place where it is.
Mm-hmm. And as you're sitting on a bench, do you perceive yourself having a body?
Yes.
Yes. And what, as you look at your down at your body, what do you see? Are you, can you see your feet?
It looks like my body.
It looks like your current body.
Hmm.
So what are you wearing? What are you wearing on your feet?
My feet are bare on
Mm-hmm.
the grass.
Your breast is bare.
No, my feet are bare.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
what
wearing white, like
you wear?
some,
Some white outfit?
yeah, it's white pants.
What do you say?
White pants.
White pants. Yes.
They're very flowy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I'm wearing is very flowy and airy.
Yeah. And as you look at your hands, do you notice something different?
They don't look as solid.
It's solid?
They don't look as solid.
They don't look as solid. Is there a shine or translucence to them?
There's somewhat of a translucence.
Mm-hmm. And as you're looking, sitting on this bench, looking at the cliff, what comes to mind about where you are?
This is a place of wisdom.
A place of wisdom. Okay. Is that a place where you're supposed to meet somebody?
Yes.
Yes. So maybe we can wait and invite whoever is supposed to meet you to come and meet you.
Zachariah.
Zachariah is coming in. Who is Zachariah?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can ask him who he is. Is he sitting on the bench with you?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he's not sitting. He's standing next to me.
He's standing next to you, and you can engage conversation with Zachariah.
Hmm.
And so we welcome Zachariah, and maybe you can ask him who he is.
Right. He smiles at me. He's known me for a long time.
He's known you for a long time. Is he one of your guides?
Yes,
Uh,
but he is part of the extended team,
he's
not part of the immediate team.
okay. So he's not your primary guide, and he's not
No,
always there with you. So he's not.
he's always with me,
He's
but
always
he's
with
not
you.
always. He he is always with me, but
Mm-hmm.
he I am not always aware of his presence. This
Okay.
is the first time I have become aware of him.
Okay. So Zachariah decided to present himself to you today. So it's a great opportunity to acquaint yourself to his presence, and maybe he can tell you why he chose to show up today.
Mhm. Why did you choose to show up to me?
Mhm.
He's laughing. He said to answer your questions.
Yeah, you can actually answer for him. He can use your body and your voice to answer. That's why he's laughing. So, hi, Zachariah. Why are you here today?
Because you called me in.
Oh, I did? Or,
You both did.
okay. So we're very glad to see you. Why did we called you? Because of what we ask for in our intention?
Yes, and because of where Ava is currently, the
Okay.
position that she's in energetically.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about what she has accomplished so far and where she's at energetically?
She's come very far.
Yes, that's beautiful. Is there anything more you can tell her about her accomplishments and specifically?
She's learning to, or has come to a place where she's
Mm-hmm.
beginning to understand how to honor herself.
Mm-hmm. So, did you contribute with her higher self to pick the lifetime that she saw?
Yes, absolutely.
Uh-huh. Why did you pick up that lifetime?
Well, I would first like to clarify that it wasn't me specifically, it was the team that is here today.
Yes. Who is in the team today?
Oh, there are thousands, there are thousands.
Wow.
There's an arena full,
There is what?
an arena full of team
An,
members of,
an arena full of team members with us today. Thank you very much for
yes,
everybody who is there. It's an honor for us to have such a crowd. So,
yes, and while each has its own energetic signature, we are all one
mm-hmm.
part of a soup, if you will,
Uh-huh.
which has different ingredients, but once they're in there, they're indistinguishable. They're all one and the same. We are all one and the same. So I did not pick this life. This was picked by all of us as one.
Yeah. So why
And you have contributed to this as well.
I
And Ava
had.
has contributed to this as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So we did contribute. Uh, um, and as we picked, as the whole assembly picked that lifetime, um, maybe it would be great if you could tell us how that lifetime was important to pick and how it connects to our current lifetime.
That lifetime was important for Ava to experience because it showed her that she could choose. It
Mm-hmm.
showed her that she could choose and she didn't need to be bound
Mm-hmm.
by the constructs of society. And that even if she chose a life that was different than what would have been expected of her if she stayed with her wife and child, or what would have been expected of her by society, it didn't affect her contentedness
Mm-hmm.
with life. It didn't affect her ability to live life in the way that she wanted to, in a way that felt good to her, in a way that felt free.
Uh-huh. All right. And so how is it pertinent to our current lifetime?
Because Eva has always been, I don't, this word may not be the best word, but it's the one that's in her complex at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been a slave
Mm,
to expectations,
I see. Yeah.
societal expectations,
Mm-hmm.
family expectations, geographical expectations,
Mm-hmm.
professional expectations.
Yes.
She has allowed her life to be dictated by the expectations, external expectations.
Mm-hmm. So now she has to understand that as she wants to let go of everything from the past that no longer serves her, that she has to move forward from all these expectations.
Yes, She has to release the expectations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how far is she in that in that progress of that move?
She's done well. She's done very well.
Mm-hmm.
She still maintains and holds on to some concern about expectations or
Mm-hmm.
the perceptions that others would have of her as a result of her decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But she's come very far. She
Yes.
just she just needed to know that it's just a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a choice. There's not anything that really needs to be done but a choice.
And no fear.
There may be fear.
There may be fear.
In this lifetime that we sin, there was no fear about the choice.
Mm-hmm.
She may experience fear
Mm-hmm.
in this lifetime related to the choice, but that's okay. It's
But
about making the choice despite the fear,
mm-hmm.
not being crippled by the fear.
Yes. And as the team, the assembly is all here for her today. Could you as one, all as one, through you, Zachariah, tell us what is the next step in our evolution in terms of our mission and purpose in this lifetime?
Our next step is to choose.
To
It's
choose.
always to choose. It's always to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
The tendency is for Ava to overcomplicate. The
Mm-hmm.
next step is to identify decision to be made and to make the choice.
Uh-huh.
There's no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm. So you specifically came today, Zachariah, because you wanted to be close to her too, and you probably has a very special message for her today.
The message is to choose what
Mm-hmm.
feels best, to
Mm-hmm.
choose which feels most liberating,
Mm-hmm.
to
To,
choose what feels freeing, to choose what feels good to you.
mm-hmm. All right. So so okay, she needs to choose. And do you see at this time any more obstacles for her to move forward with this?
No, this is the only obstacle. The only obstacle is to make the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Often she would see the decisions that need to be made and would stagnate,
Mm-hmm.
be overwhelmed by the choice, or be in fear about the repercussions of a particular choice,
Mm-hmm.
and so not make any choice and would live by default as opposed to live actively, to create her own life.
Mm-hmm.
In that way, she would allow fear to create for her.
Mm-hmm.
She was not creating the reality that she wanted.
Yes. Now she has the power to manifest in a big way, isn't it?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
this is not to say that she will not have fear. She will have fear. This is part of the
Mm-hmm.
path, but it
But
is to acknowledge the fear, to also acknowledge what is the choice that feels best, and despite the fear, to choose.
uh-huh. And to choose, there's always anyway another choice to be made after another choice.
Yes, there will
Mm-hmm.
always be choices to be made.
Yes. And it's never like a choice is a doomed choice. There's it's just a choice.
No, but the choice that is always going to be in most service to her is the one that she knows in her heart feels good. And
Mm-hmm.
even though she may have fear, is to
Mm-hmm.
step beyond the fear and make that choice anyway.
Yeah. All right. So, as I have a big assembly right now working with us, could we all concentrate on Ava and run a body scan to see if there is any concern to have about how her vessel is functioning at this time and
Mhm.
her light body as well?
Mhm.
So, if anybody wants to speak up, please let us know through Ava's voice if you notice anything that needs to be addressed through this body scan. Anybody in the assembly wants to speak up? Or Zachariah, do you want to continue to lead?
We are scanning
Mm-hmm.
in the brain.
Yes.
There is tension.
Uh-huh. Is
This
what
is
it
not.
uh,
It's. It is not something that she needs to worry about. In fact, this is a direct relationship to what we have been discussing.
uh-huh.
This is a tension from thoughts. It's like a thought form.
A thought form of tension.
Yes.
Like an inner conflict?
It's not necessarily an inner conflict. It is the manifestation of thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that are um, as a result of choosing out of a place of fear or default creation
Mm-hmm.
from a place of fear.
Yeah. Can we elevate that fear, remove that fear once and for good? Or is it not something that can be done?
Now we can remove.
Okay. That would be great to remove that fear attached to that thought form and release the tension. I don't think at this point that she needs the tension anymore in her brain. Do you agree?
No, she does not.
Yes. So let's put all our intention into removing that tension in her brain. How do you see that happening? Can you describe the process to us?
We will just direct
Mhm.
light, white
Yeah.
light.
Okay. So you imagine the light coming directly to that part of her brain that experienced that tension and alleviate it once and for good. Can we continue as we do that? Can we continue with the body scan?
Mhm.
Do you notice anything significant in her energetic body?
Her root chakra.
Yes. What's going on there?
It is a lack of grounding.
A lack of grounding. All right.
These are remnants. She has been doing much work to become
Mm,
more grounded.
yes.
We can assist.
Yes. Please. I would love to know how you're doing this.
We will, I can only give you an idea in your terminology of what we will do, but we will take a type of energetic cord
Mm-hmm.
that will be tied to her root
Mm-hmm.
chakra,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be directed towards the center of the earth.
Yes. The great central sun is there.
Yeah.
And as you do that, does it activate the energetic wheel of the root chakra?
It activates all chakras. She's
It
going to feel
activates
it.
all chakras. So it's going to go from the root up all the way to the top of her head.
Yes. In fact, as this is happening, she can feel
Mm-hmm.
her body is, it's, it's almost as if her body is sinking into the earth.
Mm, interesting. Thank you for this assistance. And as this is happening, is there any other concern that we should have about this vessel?
No, she has received some guidance previously
Mm-hmm.
about when she should go and have her eyes checked. These are minor things. If she just follows the guidance she has received, she should be fine.
Okay,
She has
so
also received guidance about supplements on iron and calcium.
mm-hmm.
She has not been very diligent, so she
Yes.
needs to follow this guidance.
All right. So we are done. Are we done with the body scan, or is there anything else you want to address?
We are done with the body scan.
Okay. Thank you very much for this work. I would like to connect with Eva's higher self. Is Eva higher self available to speak to us?
Yes, she. We are all one. Her higher
We,
self is part of us. We are part of her higher self.
okay. So may I speak to Eva's higher self, please?
Yes,
I have permission to speak to Eva's higher self as I respect the power of the higher self as much as the whole committee, that the whole assembly present as one, because I know that the high self takes care of Eva's body as well as you guys do, and does a very good job of it. I also know that the higher self has the records of everything that has ever happened to Eva in this lifetime and all the other lifetime that she's ever lived. And I respect the power of the higher self, and I always ask for permission to speak to it and ask questions. So, do I have permission to ask questions, higher self?
of course.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have a list of questions that we would like to ask, get some answers to. And the first thing that Eva was curious about is what is the significance of the red bird that has been showing up recently? What is it trying to tell her?
The red bird is showing her power to manifest.
Hmm. It's a power to manifest. Hmm.
The red bird, first of all, is a symbol of abundance.
Hmm.
It's a symbol of good fortune.
Hmm.
And it came to her on multiple occasions. First, as a sign that good fortune is coming.
Mm.
Secondly, to remind her of her power to manifest.
Hmm. That is very interesting. So it's the key to manifestation. It's a sign of manifestation, and it's also the symbol for um, that the first thing that is in the induction from Dolores Cannon. and also the symbol of the BQH. So it's interesting that it's also a red bird for both of them.
This is why when that was the phrase that you mentioned, she smiled because in the past 3 days she has seen the red bird every
Mm,
day,
yeah,
every day for the past 3 days.
every day. So this session was really coming at the right time.
Yes.
Yes. Is was it
And the
also
red bird came at the right time.
the red bird came at the right time. And that's very interesting because we have established a relationship, a working relationship, Eva and I, and it is the first time that we bring in the red bird from the QHHT in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that being said,
The red bird is also a powerful symbol because the one, because of the significance of the bird, and two, because of its color. The bird is like it traverses both the earthly realms and the spiritual realms. So
mhm,
it's a symbol for bringing from spiritual into the 3D physical realm.
mm, I
And it's
see.
also because of its color, which, interestingly enough, but not interestingly enough, it's not coincidental that we worked in her root chakra. It's the color of the root chakra as well, which is
Uh-huh.
about grounding.
Yeah.
So it's about the importance of bringing from spiritual, manifesting
Uh-huh.
from another dimension into the 3D physical dimension and
Oh, I see.
grounding it into this dimension.
Yes. Wonderful. That's interesting that you can tell us and tie everything together about the root chakra, the grounding, the manifesting, the energy, all that together, and the abundance too.
This is the essence of the earthly life. It is about how to connect the spiritual realms, to spiritual nature, your spiritual being with the physical. There are many who want to leave the physical body because they long for
Mm-hmm.
their true nature, but the purpose of the experience, the human experience, is to master the ability to integrate that which is spiritual into the physical realm,
Mm.
to
Yeah.
have access to it, but to be grounded in the body, to be grounded in the physical.
Mm.
This is why grounding is so important.
Yeah. So grounding like being in nature, right?
Yes, it's being in nature is very grounded
Mm-hmm.
and grounding.
So is there enough grounding in Eva's life at this time?
She has become more and more aware of how nature is grounding for her, and recently has been making a very good effort to ground herself and to honor herself by before engaging with others or taking on tasks that
Mm-hmm.
are required of her, to first dedicate time to herself to ground.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So, that being said, I would like to move up to another aspect of her life. What is going on with Eva's relationships?
As she begins to honor herself, she begins to take time to prioritize herself. It means that some relationships will have to seemingly disintegrate
Mm-hmm.
because they would have been based on a previous dichotomy. They would have been based on a foundation that's not solid, a foundation that prioritizes others over herself, a foundation where she gives to others before giving to herself, which means she depletes herself.
Yeah.
And so the relationships, her relationships, it would seem to her, are disintegrating, but they are not. They are shifting. They are changing. What she's experiencing is the physical manifestation of what she's been doing energetically. And
Mm.
those dichotomies have to break down before a new one can emerge.
Yeah, I see. So, what is the lesson Eva's supposed to learn from the situation she currently finds herself in with Jose and Maria Fernanda?
This brings us to the choice to
Mm.
choose.
Uh-huh.
It's an opportunity to choose,
It's an opportunity to choose.
to
Oh,
choose what feels good for her,
yeah. And not what should be, but what feels good for her.
not what should be, not what others would expect, not based on her thoughts of what others' expectations or perceptions of her may be. This is all irrelevant. It is about seeing the different options that are there to choose,
Mm.
feeling into them, and choosing the one that feels best for her.
Hmm. Okay. And that might be an unexpected path.
Yes,
Hmm. But that brings down the inquiry about financial stability. Eva would like to know what she should be doing to gain greater financial stability because the choices are very important to create abundance.
yes, you're absolutely right. It is, again, comes back to the choice.
Mm-hmm.
If she chooses what feels good for her, if she chooses what feels like it's in her highest interest, in her highest good, if she feels into the energy of it and it feels good and it feels exciting and it feels like it gives her goosebumps, if she chooses in this way,
Mm-hmm.
the abundance will come. Because as she feels into the energy of it, this is essentially becoming the red bird. She
Mm.
is feeling the energy of the spiritual realm. She feels into it and she will feel that. And when she chooses it, the choice is the essence of manifesting. And
Mm.
choosing that, she then makes the decision to bring it into the physical,
Mm-hmm.
make it a reality.
Yeah.
It is just the choice.
Mm. A choice for the red color.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. So if she picks the choice that is more in harmony with what she feels of want, she would create and she would manifest abundance no matter what.
absolutely.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she's wondering.
That
Uh-huh. Yes, please
that
go.
which she chooses, which is in her highest excitement, her highest joy,
Mm, yeah.
will always bring abundance.
Yeah. Yeah, what brings joy and excitement is going to bring abundance. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm. So she was wondering what project at this point in time is the best use of her time and energy. So that's the kind of radar she should use.
absolutely.
Uh-huh. So what do you think if you were to give a little bit of a hint to Eva, what do you think is really um, in putting the high joy and excitement in her life at this moment?
We cannot choose for her.
Uh-huh. But you see her evolve every day. And sometimes it's good to have a mirror to show and reflect where she's feeling excitement, because in the midst of the action, sometimes we don't see ourselves. We don't feel ourselves, especially in action. So when you see her being in joy and being in excitement, she might not be aware sometimes. She's just maybe in the action of it. So where do you see her being at the height of joy?
Today she had an experience, an
Mm-hmm.
idea. She had an idea today, this
Mm-hmm.
morning,
Yes.
which came to her in her morning run.
Mm-hmm.
This is an idea that she had. And as she began to feel into the energy of the idea, it was something that prior to this, she had not contemplated, was not on her radar possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And as she began to feel into it by exploring the idea and the energy of it and allowing her imagination to feel into what it would look like,
Mm-hmm.
it gave her goosebumps.
Yeah.
It made her feel excited.
Uh-huh.
It made her feel energetic. It made her feel like jumping up and down. It made her feel like acting immediately.
Uh-huh.
She knew this. She knew that this was her highest excitement.
Yeah. So she
She
has
was
really
very much aware
signs.
of it.
Uh-huh. So she really gets physical signs of that. Uh-huh. So she needs to pay attention to those.
She also cried. She cried tears of joy.
Oh, oh, beautiful. Thank you for giving her a little bit of a hint, because sometimes in our human self we are in the midst of things, but we lose track of what is really happening from a higher sense of things. Uh-huh. So that's really
Yes.
nice for you to give us some input.
Yes. And what we have encouraged her to do
Uh-huh.
is
Okay.
to not share this idea, to not
Uh-huh.
disclose it. Because what
Okay.
happens is that as she shares it with the people that she loves and she speaks about it. While
Mm-hmm.
they're well intentioned, their own limitations and thoughts can
Mm.
influence.
Okay.
And in doing so, they cast doubts. And so
Mm.
it's best that she maintain this to
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
Allow the inspiration to come as and when it does, and to move on it as and when it feels appropriate, as when she feels into it and it feels good to move on it. When
Yeah.
she
That.
gets similar signs of excitement, similar signs of similar physical manifestations of goosebumps and tears of joy, these are the good times. This is the time to act on it
Mm-hmm.
when she
Beautiful.
has the inspiration.
That's great. And that's
But
really.
if she shares with others and
Mm.
allows their energy to influence, she allows their doubts and their
Mm.
own limitations to affect it, then it dampens, it
Yeah.
hinders, it casts a shadow over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for this insight. It's very helpful. So now, there is this project that she's been having for a while. Um, when should Eva shift her energy to focus on a project with the horses?
She has been given guidance previously about timelines, when the energy is its best to act. Today she received um, today she received an indication of how she truly feels about the decision.
Uh-huh.
She has an idea. She knows already what the next step is. So the question is, when is the right time? She
Yeah.
has the timeline for when the energies are most aligned in order to be able to act on it.
Okay.
When she enters that timeline,
Mm-hmm.
she will similarly receive inspired ideas
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh.
will bring similar amount of or similar manifestations of joy or excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that happens, she will know it's the time to act.
It's the time to act. Okay. So now we're talking about the when, but now it's about the how. So what is the best way to cultivate the gift of animal communication? How can Eva differentiate it from her own thoughts when she's doing it?
She needs to connect with her heart first.
Mm-hmm.
So she needs to move out of the mind space into the heart space. That's where the communication happens. It does not happen in the mind,
Mm-hmm.
it happens in the heart space.
Uh-huh.
It's not a thought, it's a feeling. It may come as images, but she's a feeler.
Yeah. So she know the difference to make a difference between her feelings, a communication coming from the heart space as opposed to the communication coming from the thoughts?
She knows the difference. She's experienced this before
Uh-huh.
with horses.
Okay.
She
So
has moved into the heart space, and she, in doing so, allowed the horse, this particular horse's name was Snowflake, she allowed the horse to show her images.
mm-hmm.
This was communication.
Okay.
She has had glimpses of it.
Mm-hmm.
It will be strengthened and it will develop in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Is there a way to practice it?
Yes, the same way that she moved into the heart space with Snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way to practice.
Okay.
And as she continues to practice that way, new modalities will develop.
Mm-hmm.
But because she's familiar with it, and because that's the method that she used to get into the heart space, that
Mm-hmm.
is the place to begin practicing.
Mm. Very good. Thank you so much. So now, higher self, is there something important you want to tell Eva today that she didn't ask about that would be very important for her to move on to the next step, to move forward with a clean slate for good?
It is always your choice. It is always your choice. A
Mm-hmm.
choice, in essence, when a choice is made, an intention is set. That's all that is needed.
Mm-hmm. So her intention for today was to let go of everything from the past that no longer serves her. So and so that she can move forward to with a clean slate. So do you think she has achieved that goal?
Yes, to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
As circumstances come up, they will trigger things from the past.
Yeah.
And it is at that point that it's her choice to allow the past
Mm-hmm.
to creep in or to move past it. It's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
It is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, she has to a certain extent made the choice to leave it behind,
Mm-hmm.
but there will be certain triggers. There will be certain difficult circumstances that will come up from time to
Yeah.
time in which the past, because her body remembers as well, it's in her body, it's part of who she is.
Yeah. So she has to actually get these to emerge so that she can progress even further, right?
It's, yes, it is a practice
Yeah. It's
to acknowledge the circumstances in which past events or past circumstances would like to dictate, and to
mm-hmm.
choose to not allow it to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so you would say that the most important thing for her is to really understand that she has to make choices, and those choices have consequences that are okay to deal with, and that if the choice is made in in an informed manner, informed by the joy and excitement that she feels in her heart space, then she would be making the right choice.
Yes. And if she feels confused or in doubt, or if she feels lost,
Mm-hmm.
we are always at her disposal. She need only ask.
Mm-hmm. So, I came into Ava's life for a reason. So we have been working at a conscious mind level, and right now we're working at your higher self level. And do you see um, how I can help, I continue to help Eva progress in that direction?
Yes, it is about the reason that you came is to help her to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
She had a tendency to also want to focus more on the spiritual.
Yes. So,
And
mm-hmm.
integration is important because her mind needs to be programmed in order to be like the red bird,
Mm-hmm.
to bring the physical, bring the spiritual into the physical, to
Mm-hmm.
integrate
Yeah.
both, to integrate the spiritual realms, to integrate the etheric body with the physical,
Yes.
with and ground it into 3D. This is what she is here for. This is what you are here for.
Mm-hmm.
Because the light that comes from the spiritual is needed on the 3D plane. It is so desperately needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the manifestation is manifestation in a physical form, right?
Yes, but it is also in the integration process.
Mm-hmm.
The light from the spiritual realm integrates into the physical body,
Mm-hmm.
and it integrates into the 3D realm. And when
Mm-hmm.
it does, it brings light onto everything in the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
It sheds light. It is a beacon of light. It
Mm-hmm.
grounds light into the physical realm. This
Mm-hmm.
is why it's so important that the practice of integration
Yes.
is done, that the practice of grounding is done,
Mm-hmm.
because in essence what you're doing is bringing light from the spiritual realms into the earth realm, into the 3D, and you're spreading that light in the 3D at a time when it's needed.
Okay. Okay. So that's why I've been doing it the way I've been doing it, I guess. Mm. So do you have any message for me to continue to provide that integration opportunity?
The message for you is similar. It's to feel into the choice,
Mm-hmm.
to feel into what feels best, what resonates more with your heart.
Mm. Yeah.
And then you, in feeling into the energy and what resonates most with your heart, you will choose that which is in your highest good and in the highest good of your clients.
Yeah. This is because I was wondering how to promote that aspect. So it's, yeah, I'm gonna have to really integrate this physical 3D conscious mind with the spiritual, with the subconscious aspect of things and what we bring from our past and how we transform things and make choices and go over the hurdles, things that slow us down to actually create new opportunities and manifest something that is in a growth process.
Yes, because many of the conflicts, many of the blocks are formed in the mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is where it becomes important to help to untangle some of the knots of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It is also a part of the programming in the 3D
Mm-hmm.
to give highest priority to the mind. Well, this is correct in some instances because the mind is very powerful in terms of its ability to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
It is incorrect in the sense that it doesn't take into consideration the spirit aspect.
Yeah.
These different bodies, the spiritual body and the mental body, when they work together, are
Mm-hmm.
most powerful.
Yeah.
This is where magic happens.
Mm-hmm. And how to look at it now at a more global, from a more global way, as we are on this 4D bridge?
What is, can you rephrase your question?
Yes, like now we are more like, apparently we are more like in a 4D bridge, and we are dealing with 3D aspects and 5D aspects, and so we need to, so it's a little bit different than to be in a complete 3D only environment.
Yes, but they are not separate.
Mm-hmm.
This is similar to what we mentioned about the mental. When priority is put on the mind,
Mm-hmm.
as if you think about um, science, science is very focused on what the mind can comprehend and logic. And if
Mm-hmm.
there is anything beyond what can be explained that the mind can comprehend, it is relegated to the realms of fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
of not being of reality.
Yes.
So the different dimensions are similar to this in that you have the mental and the spiritual bodies, which can be considered to be in different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
The spiritual, what is in the higher dimensions, is aware of what's in the lower dimensions. What is in the fifth dimension is very much aware of what's in the third. However, it's not the same the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
What is in the third, exclusively in the third, is not aware of what's in the fifth dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fourth dimension is the transition, the integration phase. It is the
Mm-hmm.
phase of bringing together these two dimensions, the multiple dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
It is a process of awareness. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a separate place. The fourth dimension is the dimension that brings awareness to the 3D.
Okay. So does that mean that consciousness, um, which splits between conscious and subconscious, gives a little bit more room for conscious to have more awareness, being more in consciousness?
Yes, it allows, the fourth dimension is the dimension of integration. It
Mm-hmm.
is a dimension of integrating that which is in the spiritual realm into the
Okay.
physical realm
Mm-hmm.
so that the 3D, what is now 3D, can become 5D. The 3D mind is limited to mental facilities, mental capacities.
Mm-hmm.
The 4D mind has awareness of there being more. The
Yeah.
5D mind is a mind that is fully integrated and
Mm.
balanced. It doesn't mean that the 3D ceases to exist. No, the 3D continues to exist, but with awareness and knowledge of more than the physical.
Okay. That's very interesting. That's definitely something to to mature in our minds, to integrate, to understand, to embrace.
And so it's very apt that you say it's a bridge. It is a bridge. It is
Mm-hmm.
exactly a bridge.
Mm. All
It's a
right.
bridge that integrates the two.
Mm-hmm. That's very important for us because that's completely part of the conversation we've been having today,
Yes.
and bring putting the bridge between the conscious mind work of psychology and the subconscious mind work of quantum healing.
This is why Ava sought you out. She
Mm.
didn't know at the time.
Okay.
She didn't have the full awareness, but
Mm-hmm.
she knew at a deeper level.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I'm glad to be of service and to also get to learn more about what I'm doing, with that, like more aware of what I'm doing. Yes. So is there anything else? Yes, I self, you want to add something?
It is very important work. It's
Mm-hmm.
very important work at this time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. And is there anything else, higher self, that you want to add to this conversation before we close?
No, we are complete.
Thank you. Thank you. And is there anybody in the assembly that would like to add something or make a comment from today's session?
Not to add, her father is just standing up and waving.
Which father?
Ava's father.
Mm-hmm. And what, he wants to say something?
No, he's
No.
just reminding her that he's here.
Yes. All right. And so thank you everybody for showing up today. And it reminds Eva that she's very well surrounded. She's never alone. She has a lot of support, and
The arena is full.
she's really protected.
Yes.
So now I'm asking the higher self and everybody else that participated to recede to where you all belong, with much love and much, much thanks for the help and information you have been giving us today. Eva is really going to appreciate it. Thank you very much again.